Okay, there's two. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. As you can see, I'm trying to put 1,000 pounds worth of crap in a 2-pound sack. So heat management is definitely going to become a problem. So today we're going to do some top of the line heat shielding. So let's get right into it. Yes, I'm wearing my house slippers. It's Saturday, so I don't know what day it is for you guys, but it's Saturday for me. All right, guys, let's talk about the material. Let's talk about the material, how to use it, how to cut it, what tools it's going to take to install it, and then actually just go ahead and start installing it. So what it is back in the early days of IndyCar, they were doing heat shielding for turbos and stuff using a product called Inconel. Inconel is extremely expensive. It's an aerospace product. This is not Inconel, but it basically serves the same function. This is made of stainless steel. It's embossed. It's really, really thin, but it's stainless steel and it's really strong. It's very sharp. You're going to want to wear cut level gloves. Like I have some Milwaukee cut level 2 or 3 gloves. You will cut yourself if you're dicking around, and it takes a long time to do this. It's real tedious, but just put on some music and enjoy your day. But you will cut yourself if you're not paying attention and not wearing gloves. The insulation, the thing that I found out that I really, really benefited from, I thought was amazing, was the adhesive layer on the back. So once you get it contoured and cut, you'll do whatever you're working on, your downpipe or whatever, is going to have long sweep bends and stuff in it, and you're going to have to do pie cuts. So once you start getting a section going, you can actually peel the backing off and put the adhesive on the tube work, and then just build it down as it goes, keeping really nice tight joints. You want to keep the insulation lofted. You don't want to compress it, and you need that air gap in there. The heat shielding is actually going to sit nice on it, but you don't want to compress and hold it so tight that the insulation doesn't have the thickness to do its job. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but I just wanted to talk about the products, what it is, so that we're on the same page of what we're doing. Here's the book that Boost Product sent me. They're originally a German company. They have distribution here in America. So I've been dealing with the guys up in Dallas. All right, guys, that's enough of the product. I just wanted to clarify, they're not paying me to show their product or use it or anything. I bought this with my own money after researching it. So just wanted to clarify that. So let's go ahead and get some tools up here and just go to work. So if you're going to try to wrap around a piece, so this is a 90-degree bend. If you're trying to segment it out into little, so 4 sections is 22.5 degrees each section. If you want tighter bends, like you could do 6 sections at 15 degrees or 18 degrees and do 5 sections. The tighter the sections, the nicer the bends are going to be. I was doing about 22.5 degrees as far as my angles. So I was getting about 4 or 4.5 or 5. You really want to account for overlapping the material by about 1/4 of an inch. You want the top layer to overlap the bottom by about 1/4 of an inch. This material is embossed, so it's raised and lowered, there's highs and lows. And you want to try to interlock them together so that you slide them until the patterns match from one to the next, and call that your overlap. And then you'll slide them 1 or 2 back or whatever, so you can get at least about 1/4 of an inch overlap. And the 2 sheets lay as nice as they can, so that when you go ahead and start spot welding them, I really should put gloves on right now. You really want to push them together, hold them, and then weld it, and then go on to the next one. Sometimes you're going to need to get a little hammer and tap it and get them a little bit tighter together, because you have to have the two sheets on top of each other or else you'll burn through it. So let me get some tools up here and we'll show you what it takes to get this installed. It's time to weld some stuff together, but first let's talk about the tools it takes to spot weld this thin metal together. What I found worked the best was a MIG welder with no wire and the gas kept off. You take a contact tip, and I modified it by putting it in the vise and smashing it down at the tip, so it's about a 1/4 inch tall and like an 1/8 inch wide, not even an 1/8 wide, basically like a little soldering iron. And then I set my welder for about 12 gauge material, because you're not arcing, you don't need real low amperage. You actually need more amps than you think to spot weld. So then you just take your contact tip, I'll actually demonstrate in a minute, and then get your spacing, and you hold contact, hold it nice and tight, press, hold, and then you'll actually release, because you're just spot welding. So those are the two tools that I've tried. I'll put a link to how to get one of these. They're like 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon. It does work. It just doesn't work for hours like an actual welder will. So if you want to spend 30 bucks and you also have 18650 batteries that you can repair, that's actually a good option. So I'll show you how to use this in a minute. It's time to get to work. All right, let's talk about the little hand tools we need. We need a seamstress tape measure for measuring contours around round pipes. We need the MIG welder with a modified contact tip. We just talked about that. We're going to need construction paper or any kind of paper that you feel you can make a template in the shape of a pie cut. So these are little pie cut templates that I made. You'll need some paper. I like some longer scissors, give you a little more stability and know which direction you're heading. You don't really want super short scissors, but you can cut the material with just household scissors. You're gonna need like a body hammer, like a nice little a little hammer and chisel. This chisel is like about a 1/2 inch wide, just a little flat chisel for rounding over. I'll show you, because at the beginning you want to do something a little special when you start. You'll just need a Sharpie for marking, just regular little tools. So that's it. Let's just get into it right now. So I've already made some pie cut templates, pretty straightforward. It's just a template that allows you to wrap around a rounded object. So earlier I said that you're going to want to do something special when you start. So here's the V-band. So anytime you have a flange or a transition that has a flange, you want to keep the material away by about a 1/2 inch or so that it allows the flange fasteners to work, in this case a V-band clamp. So you want to keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my insulation. I want to keep about a 1/4 inch away from where I want the sheet metal to finish. So if let me grab a piece of material. My insulation needs to finish a 1/4 inch further away from the V-band clamp than my metal, so that I can roll down the edge with the hammer and file so that it doesn't compress the insulation and it rolls over nicely, but it still allows material to weld to the flange or whatever space you're allowing. whole lot of jibber jabber, but I guess I'll just have to show you. So this one fits real nice. It's a tad long. You can see earlier I talked about making smaller pie cuts to get a cleaner outcome. What I meant by that earlier was if this wasn't, this is like 2.5 inches right here. If this section was smaller, more like 1.5 inches, I wouldn't have this little 1/4 inch gap under here. So I may want to, instead of using this piece, use one that's smaller, more in line with this size. Because it doesn't look as nice when you have big, fat, bulky transitions. So let's go ahead and use a different piece. So see how this pie cut shape turns into a pie cut. So you're basically going to want to measure the inside of the pie cut. You'll measure around, and then that number will be the length. I like to add a 1/2 inch just for safety, because a 1/2 inch down here is basically no material. So add a 1/2 inch to that. So 52.5, well, that's upside down. But whatever it is, the pie cut shape is going to look something like that. So that's basically what we're shooting for. And that's it, it's insulated. So now we just need to wrap it in stainless and weld it. You can see why I like the self-adhesive on the insulation, because you really gotta get going and work and play with it. You wouldn't want to have to worry about the insulation falling or sliding. So right now, this first piece that I get on here is going to be really important. I need to maintain a nice air gap all the way around it and get it welded in place. And then I start forming it over that insulation to get it sealed around the V-band. So the first and the last are very important to get looking good. So let's do that right now. Man, you really need gloves for this. I shouldn't be showing you this without gloves on. So now I'm gonna get a when you get it somewhere you like it and you know it belongs there, tack it down. What happened there was I had the trigger down and I pulled off too soon. It's a juggling act between on, off, on, off, on, off, and listening to good music. So every once in a while you will get an arc flash, but just be mindful of it, put your safety squints on, and enjoy your music. Okay, there's two. about a half hour worth of spot welds. All right, there it is.